Welcome, Tyler. Have a great workout. The gym temperature is 64.166 degrees.
So what I'm doing today is I want to showcase all of the things in our home gym here and show exactly what makes it a smart home gym. There's a lot of fun I had putting this project together, kind of combining a couple of my different interests in both the smart automations and also just home fitness. And there's also a lot of things in here that are just obnoxious, but they make me happy, so I did them anyways. And I'm just going to kind of walk around and kind of show what I've done. So I started off with a welcome routine I have set up that actually gets triggered from right here. Behind this faceplate, I have a small little NFC tag, which these things are super cheap and super versatile. And I just have that right on the inside of that faceplate. So when I scan my phone to it, that triggered the whole welcome routine that I started off with. That routine slowly ramps up all the lights in the ceiling, starts my workout playlist, reads the temperature in the room, and starts the fan in the corner over there, all from just scanning my phone when I walk into the room. Makes it a really fun and convenient way to get my workout started, especially if I'm in a hurry. The primary source of lights in this room are these Philips Hue smart downlights. These things are nice because they are about only as thick as the drywall or the drop ceiling we put them in. Had to hardwire them in, so there's 10 of them running in conjunction, about 6 on the back wall, and where it's up a little bit higher where the tall equipment fits. And the rest of the gym has 4 more kind of spreading out to kind of give a nice even lighting effect and also provide some really fun things I can do with the lights. So with those Philips Hue lights, one cool feature that I don't think I've ever actually used in a workout is syncing the lights directly to Spotify. So Spotify is tied in via an API where it can just know the song and kind of pulse the lights in accordance with the music. No microphones required. It's just kind of fun that the gym is able to do this. Not that it's actually needed for anything. And back here at the light switch, I won't get into why I have 2 different light switches here. For a while, I just had this wireless light switch right here on the wall. And this does 90% of what you want it to do. By spinning it here, you can dim, brighten the lights, you can change the different color temperatures, you can change the color if you want, and a few other things I have tied into it that I'll get to. And I had just this for a while. I had the switch pretty much tied off, so it was just this as a primary controller. The issue I ran into is that if anyone else that wasn't me or my fiance came in here to use the gym, they didn't know what this was. They does not look like a light switch. Doesn't quite work for that simplicity for anyone coming in here. The furnace is behind that door. When they come in to work on it, they didn't know where to find it. So I added this Lutron switch right here, so I can still control from the home. Anytime these buttons get hit first, and if this isn't on, it will turn it on, and this just returns power to the lights and works really well as it's a simple off and on function for the gym. Over here is the smart dashboard control that I built this display in a program known as Home Assistant that allowed me to pretty much customize the whole thing, put the buttons where I wanted. I set that backdrop color to kind of match the tones of the gym, that red and black theme. And from here I can see all the different lights. So that controls that Lutron button I was just looking at. And then this is the dimmer for all of them. And then I have it broken up into all the different sections by equipment. This is also cool because it allows me to pull up. I have a displayer here for whatever playlist is playing in the gym speakers. I can control the fan from right here, turn it back off, and see the temperature humidity sensor as a live feed to the what's feeding the automations. It also tells me the brightness and the occupancy in here. So with each of these lights, they are all individually controlled one at a time. And that allows me to do some cool things to make sure that just in case I still always am the biggest guy in the gym when I'm here by myself in the basement. And that is, I built a button here for what I call studio lights. And when I trigger that, it purposely turns off all the lights except for the 2 main ones focused here on the rack and 2 accent lights behind it to try to give that nice muscle and visual contrast for if you're ever trying to take a picture or just look in the mirrors, which I have plenty of in here. and get that right cool effect. Another new recent thing I added was a presence sensor into the gym, which makes those lights automatically turn on hands-free. If I'm walking in here with my energy drink and my water, shoes, my hands are full, the lights are still going to turn on. And the cool thing about that is I'll also turn the lights off when I go to leave. So I have this cool fancy light switch over here that a lot of times now I don't even need to use ever since I've added the presence sensor up in the corner there, and that is actually an Aqara multi-wave millimeter wave sensor. It's really good, very detailed, and it's also battery powered, which made placing it in here very convenient. Some automations are just fun. And over here in my corner that I kind of use for mostly for storage, I have my speed bag. And I'm not a professional at this. I use it mostly just to stay warmed up between sets. But a little while back, I bought a vibration sensor for another project in the house, and it turned out it just wasn't quite working up there how I intended it. So now I had this leftover vibration sensor, also from Aqara, and I decided to bring it down here, and I just mounted it right on top of this. So now the gym and my home assistant knows when I'm having a session on the speed bag. And if that door is closed, and I think if the fan is on, because I really didn't want this thing to trigger too often unless it really needed to, is if I start having fun on my speed bag and it detects motion for a couple seconds, it'll actually turn off all the other lights in this room and turn on a rage mode, where I believe it's just this one, possibly that one as well, just goes solid red, and that's the only lights in the gym. So let's see if I can trigger it. And just like that, I have a fun way to just really go at it on the speed bag. It does look like both of these two lights, and the fact that I needed to check that kind of goes to show how often this is practically used, but it's kind of fun that the house can just do that. And after a little bit of time, it would also revert itself back and turn back on to just our normal white light in here. One of the other things we did with the lights when we were rebuilding this gym out was repurpose some of the functions that were there previously. So in this corner where is now my barbell wall, this actually used to be a closet on the other side of the basement. And in here is a structural beam that we couldn't get rid of. But also that closet had a light. And we repurposed that light into these LED tube lights. I believe they're Barina shop lights on Amazon. These were previously in my old gym. They used to light up half of a pole barn pretty well. So in here, they're actually almost overpowering. End up using them a lot for cleaning. And to make it more useful to get to these lights, I have back here on the wall another Aqara switch. And I don't think that button ever gets hit, but that button allows me to have a repeater back to here on this Philips Hue switch. And I believe it is button 2. If I hit that via Home Assistant, it will turn on those shop lights. And as you see, it really brightens this room up a lot. I also have another way to control those lights right over here on the main dashboard. I call them the tube lights. And I can tap them right off from there, and they return right back off. The last real thing to really showcase in here are my two Sonos Era 100 speakers that I have permanently mounted up there in the corners. And those are really nice because they integrate really well into my Home Assistant software that I've been running. Home Assistant is really good at using a whole bunch of different brands, bringing them together to kind of give you those complex things, such as that welcome message whenever I came into the gym earlier. It's also really nice because having the two speakers, one on each side of the gym, allow me to have the music volume lower, but still have that nice full sound when I'm spending most of my workout between my Rogue Fitness half rack and my Rep Fitness Adonis cable column. And yeah, so between that, I'm able to have a really nice, good sounding workout, professional quality, and just have a good time in here. Also, with the Sonos speakers tied into Home Assistant, which also has my Philips Hue in there, the last button on here, button number 4, I actually have set up to just be a quick play and pause button for my music. That has actually been very useful for me, just because it's right by the door here. And if I'm running out, if the dog needs something, um, any reason I need to leave the gym, I don't just have music blasting out through the basement when I'm not even in here. So that's kind of been really useful and just to find a little piece to the puzzle. And that mostly wraps it up in here. It's kind of always going to be a work in progress. I'm always looking for new fun ways to kind of involve tech anywhere in the house. The gym was just a room that I spent a lot of time in, so I had a lot of fun just seeing what I could do. There's more things we can do with the Peloton bike my fiance likes to use a lot. So far, all we've done with that is set it up so that her classes play through the Sonos instead of just through the little speakers on the bike's monitor. But I know Peloton does have a connection into Home Assistant, and I just haven't thought of fun ways to kind of play with that yet. But yeah, just really enjoyed this space a lot and wanted to kind of show all the cool things I have going on in here that just make it mine. And that's going to be all for this.